All right, let's take a look at the SEC, where it just means more, Griffin.
I was waiting for that.
And Alabama, the favorite, plus 170, despite not playing their best ball right now, obviously. Tennessee, second favorite, plus 280. Excuse me, plus 280. Kentucky, plus 450. A&M, plus 500. Auburn, 12-1. Arkansas, 12-1. Mizzou, 25-1. Vandy, 35-1. Mississippi State, 45-1. And then you're in the dredges. Florida's 100-1. Georgia, Ole Miss, South Carolina, and LSU. You can light your money on fire. So let's get into this one where, again, the top 4 seeds have a big edge because they are already in the quarterfinals. That being Alabama, A&M, Kentucky, and Mizzou, 1 through 4 respectively. Texas A&M is the 2 seed, probably not what you penciled in preseason, but here we are. The matchups to me that are going to be of real interest, and the teams that I'm kind of watching here, although I hate the idea of Tennessee being the second favorite in this conference when they're the 5 seed, meaning they're going to have to play an extra game. But I'm looking at their path, and getting the Ole Miss South Carolina winner is, we just discussed, probably whoever is playing in those play-in games is a disaster. And then a very winnable game against Mizzou, although Mizzou's playing a lot better. But then Tennessee would likely get Alabama in the next round. And Alabama, like I mentioned at the beginning, seems pretty vulnerable right now. So I kind of want to play someone on the top half of that bracket, and it would boil down to Tennessee or Missouri. And Missouri at 25-1 feels, compared to Tennessee at plus 280, I feel like Missouri would probably be a better look. I don't know if Missouri can win this tournament per se. I don't know that they're consistent enough to win 3 games in 3 days. But if they get past Tennessee, it feels like the path lines them up to at least be in the finals. And at 25-1, it's a great way to hedge out. What do you see in the SEC? Who do you like? Who's the dark horse? Is there any team in particular that you're looking to fade?
I also feel like there's some value in taking kind of what these numbers say about the teams. Because Tennessee being second favorite with an extra game, just losing their point guard to an ACL injury is pretty bullish, I feel like, from the market standpoint on how they either expect Tennessee just to control the SEC, but I think that maybe applies a little bit to the big tournament that's going to happen soon, that we're all going to have brackets for and things of that nature. I thought Tennessee was more than in the game against Auburn. Auburn was my best bet winner from Saturday, so we didn't have an 0-2, thankfully. But that was not easy. I was pretty nervous through a lot of that matchup, I got to say. But in terms of what I guess this podcast episode is about, I was hoping for Auburn and Arkansas to not play each other in the first round. That's very disappointing. I do think the winner of that one has a good shot at getting through an A&M team that I think is not necessarily as strong as their record shows, though a tough team to play against, of course. But when you get to the top 4 seeds in any conference, I feel like most of them are really tough to play against unless you're talking the ACC. But I guess we already went through that. In terms of numbers here, I feel like Kentucky seems a little bit longer of a shot than I was expecting. I don't know that they're half as likely to win the tournament with one less game than Tennessee, especially maybe they've struggled with Vanderbilt and it's happened for years and years, but I wouldn't be shocked if Georgia got through Vanderbilt in that one either. LSU seems like that fall from grace has been incredible, so I can't imagine there's an upset in that one. But so Kentucky seems like a reasonable play to me. Arkansas at 11-1 that I'm seeing, and then Auburn at 12-1. Basically, the winner of that one I think is a good shot to get through if you're looking for a longer line. But I feel like those 3 teams all get to. Only one of them gets through for Kentucky to play, and potentially in that second round in Nashville, which isn't exactly Catlanta, where Kentucky's going to have every seat. But there should be a good Tennessee contingent there as well, because pretty much everyone moves from Knoxville to Nashville, it seemed, when I lived there. But I really like Kentucky's side of the bracket to avoid Alabama. Yes, they haven't been playing great. they're still one of the more scary teams to play against. And I felt like that comeback that they were going to come back and steal that game from A&M this weekend. That's, I think, where I'm feeling. Do you not? I mean, it's hard to really trust Kentucky, but it's also hard to argue with some of their performances lately, despite missing a bunch of guys to injury.
Yeah, Kentucky is scary. They are playing a lot better. They do have injury concerns. I would caution against Auburn because Auburn feels to me, and listen, a couple nice wins to end the season, especially the nice win against Tennessee and an almost nice win against Alabama, but they feel so home court dependent. And that's something I think about too in tournament time. And what kind of wins have you had away from your building? And the road wins in the SEC for Auburn are South Carolina, LSU, and Ole Miss. End of list. They lost to Georgia on the road. So like
12, 13, 14.
Yeah, the worst team. Like that's who they've been able to beat outside of their house. So that's a team I'm not looking to back in this tournament. The Tennessee win, again, I feel like that was really kind of backs against the wall. I think if they lost that Tennessee game after losing the Alabama game, there was no at-large coming for Auburn or even really going to be discussed for Auburn. So that was an important win for them. But outside of them, like, and really, if you just look at the SEC wins in general, like most of their wins have come against the dredges. It's the Florida, Mississippi, LSU, South Carolina, Georgia, Ole Miss again. Like the Tennessee win, the Mizzou win, and I guess if you want to say Mississippi State it was a good win, that's their good wins. So it's hard for me to get excited about a team like that. It's hard for me also to get excited about Alabama, who I know Alabama is going to be a 1 seed no matter what happens in this tournament. So I feel like they're one of those teams who, especially given all the off the court stuff that's surrounding that program, I wouldn't be surprised if they'd prefer not to be in the media circus for an extra couple days and just get their minds right and get ready to play some tournament ball. So they're a team that I'll be looking to fade. I'm with you on A&M, their record being a little bit better than the actual team is, despite that win to close out the season against Alabama, which was really nice. Also beat Tennessee in the last couple of weeks. So they've proven that they can play with the big boys. And Buzz Williams is a coach that I like. And suddenly he's starting to build a roster that seems like maybe it can compete a little bit. So it's hard for me to find like a team that I love in this conference. I don't love anyone. I don't have a great feel like any of these teams are the team to beat. Kentucky at plus 450, there probably is some value. And if I were looking for a dark horse, I think it would be Mizzou at 25-1. Hope that they can get by Tennessee and that you can hedge out later on in the tournament. So that's the way I'll be looking to attack this thing.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think Mizzou, I mean, tournament teams are a little bit different than what you see in a regular season. I think it's a lot about momentum, a lot of like, can you kill a game early by getting ahead a ton? I think Mizzou can do that, certainly, if they make a lot of 3-point shots and play at their fast pace. It's a really tough road of potentially Tennessee and Alabama first 2 games.
For sure.